The film opens in Nairobi, Kenya, where Alia Mualim, a young girl, twirls a hula hoop in her backyard. British Army Colonel Catherine Powell wakes up and hears that an undercover British or Kenyan agent has been murdered by the Al-Shabaab group. From Northwood headquarters she takes command of a mission to capture 3 of the 10 highest-level Al-Shabaab leaders, who are meeting in a safe house in Nairobi. They are meeting. A multinational team works on the capture mission, linked together by video and voice systems. Aerial surveillance is provided by a USAF MQ-9 Reaper drone controlled from Creech Air Force Base in Nevada by 2nd Lieutenant Steve Watts. A little girl Alia was selling bread. Facial recognition to identify human targets is done at Joint Intelligence Center Pacific at Pearl Harbor in Hawaii. Undercover Kenyan field agents, including Jamafara, use short-range ornithopter and insectothopter cameras to link and ground intelligence. Kenyan special forces are positioned nearby to make the arrest. The mission is supervised in the United Kingdom by a Cobra meeting that includes British Lieutenant General Frank Benson, 2 full government ministers and a ministerial undersecretary. In order to prove the identity of the people, 3 of the 10 highest-level Al-Shabaab leaders, in the house, can only risk sending someone in to determine their identity. Jamafara uses the insectothopter cameras to go into the house to prove the identity of the people in the house and to link and ground intelligence. They confirm the identity of the girl in the house. Powell reports to her superiors that she can strike her. This is their biggest opportunity. Farah discovers that the 3 high-level targets are now arming 2 suicide bombers for what is presumed to be an attack on a civilian target. Powell decides that the imminent bombing changes the mission objective from capture to kill. She requests Watts to prepare a precision Hellfire missile attack on the building, and solicits the opinion of her British Army legal counsel. To her frustration, her counsel advises her to seek approval from superiors. Benson asks permission from the Cobra members, who fail to reach a decision. Cobra members, who fail to reach a decision and refer the question up to the UK Foreign Secretary, presently on a trade mission to Singapore. The UK Foreign Secretary, he does not offer a definite answer and defers to the United States Secretary of State. The United States Secretary of State, who immediately declares the American suicide bomber an enemy of the state. Alia, who lives next door, is now near the target building selling her mother's bread. The senior military personnel stress the risk of letting would-be suicide bombers leave the house.
I will not release my weapon until that happens.
Watts can see the more direct risk of little Alia selling bread outside the targeted building, and they seek to delay firing the missile until she moves. Farah is directed to try and buy all of Alia's bread so she will leave, but after paying her his cover is blown and he is forced to flee without collecting it. Because Farah did not succeed in buying Alia's bread, Alia picked up the bread and sold it again. But everyone wanted to save Alia, so they never fired the missiles backwards. The Foreign Secretary then insists that Cobra take due diligence to minimize collateral damage. The 2 suicide bombers have almost finished their armed forces, and they cannot wait any longer, because this is an attack on civilians. The insectothopter cameras had no battery, They didn't know the situation in the house. So they must shoot as soon as possible to prevent them from leaving the room. Powell orders her risk assessment officer to find parameters that will let him quote a lower 45% risk of civilian deaths. He reevaluates the strike point and assesses the probability of Alia's death at 45 to 65%. She makes him confirm only the lower figure, and then reports this up the chain of command. In order to save Alia, Farah asks the little boy to buy all Alia's bread, hoping to let Alia go home quickly. The strike is authorized, and Watts fires a missile. The explosion destroys the building and injures Alia, but one conspirator survives. Watts is ordered to fire a second missile, which strikes the site just as Alia's parents reach her. They rush Alia to a hospital, where she dies. In the London Situation Room, the Undersecretary berates Benson for killing from the safety of his chair. Benson counters that he has been on the ground at 5 suicide bombings and adds as he's leaving, provoking her to tears, "Never tell a soldier that he does not know the cost of war." Their mission is completed, but they are very guilty and sad about Alia's death.